A very good evening and a warm welcome to today's bootcamp on basics of JavaScript. Learn by doing. I am Pooja Agrawal and I am a senior developer advocate with OpenWeaver. OpenWeaver is a SaaS technology company supporting over a million developers build their ideas faster using open source. Our vision is to reinvent digital realization. Simply put, improve the way applications are built. By investing in a unique combination of public domain knowledge and artificial intelligence, OpenWeaver is delivering smarter ways to build the digital world of tomorrow. Today's bootcamp is an integral part of our OpenWeaver community initiatives. The OpenWeaver community is a body of like minded tech enthusiasts and open source contributors who have come together with the vision of contributing to the world of open source. Over the last few weeks, we have run several open source development bootcamps on a variety of topics such as building your AR powered e commerce site, building your own virtual agent, building a model for fake news detection, a model for breast cancer prediction, and many more to come. Today's bootcamp on basics of JavaScript, learn by doing. We will try to cover the basics of data types, how you declare variables, what are the different functions that you can use in JavaScript, and we will discuss a use case which will help you create a login page. Which all this is already completely curated in a single kit, which we will use to discuss today's bootcamp. You will realize through today's bootcamp that technology doesn't need to be complex and doesn't need to be developed in silos. You will see how you can take a solution that is pre built, in fact, pre built by many people in the world, and then you can build on top of it and share it or put it back such that your solution is now accessible to many people around the world who can further build on top of your ideas, thereby accelerating the virtuous cycle of innovation and helping you scale your ideas and solutions significantly. So, with that, I would like to start with today's agenda. So, today we will be talking on the history of JavaScript, how it came into being, what made it this popular that it is one of the world's most recognized, most used programming languages of sorts, and how we, as a beginner or someone who already understands how to write a JavaScript, can get benefit from today's session. So we will discuss about what are the different data types. We'll talk about the functions, the necessary elements that will help you, you know, get to application development with JavaScript. But before we go ahead and discuss all that stuff, let us quickly first go and set up the kit for us. To do that, please get into the description of today's session. By getting into the description of today's session, you will find the link to the resources at the community page. Click there. So it will take you to the JavaScript programming, basics of JavaScript programming page on the community platform. Go ahead and click on the one click Kandi solution kit. As you click here, you would see that you will have the Kandi kit page displayed in front of you. So this Kandi kit page you can use to simply download the one click installer. So we believe that who all have been our returning users already understand that we follow the concepts of Kandi kits, which are easy to install kits that you can simply set up onto your local systems. So I'm currently just downloading it as a zip file. Okay, this name is already available. So let me just give it a name called JS script. So this zip file will get downloaded. I will say show in folder. I will extract all of it. And after extracting, I'll get a batch file. I'll double click the batch file, go into the more info, say run anyway. So this will start your CandyKit installation process onto your systems, and it will try to check for the required dependencies if they are available or not. So let the setup happen. And meanwhile, as the setup is happening, we can get back to our discussion on the concepts of the programming language known as JavaScript, and how you, by attending today's session, can get benefited from this. So we all, at least if you've come around here, understand that JavaScript is somewhere not a general, programming language of sorts. It is one of those programming languages that has been recognized by the world not to just develop some simple web applications, but it has been a part of the key applications that you use today. So, talking about Facebook, YouTube, whatever website that you use in your daily life, JavaScript is part of it. All these popular platforms cannot do without, the JavaScript language that we are going to discuss today. So initially it was created out of necessity, and it was, more than, if you see, 95 to 96% of the websites today have JavaScript embedded into it. So without JavaScript, your Facebook, your YouTube, your Google Maps, websites and platforms, like your different shopping applications and web pages that are available, that you quickly browse onto, both your mobile as well as desktop applications, are somewhere utilizing the benefits which the language JavaScript provides. So we just want to understand that other than being a lightweight integrated programming language, how you can get benefited from it. First, I would like to also say that it has been ranked as one of the top programming languages throughout the world, which is being utilized by more than 70 to 80% of the developers, and it is synchronous to, as it came into being, it became the most popular programming language, but also it also, resulted in the, or I would say the rise in the internet resulted in a good boom in the development of this language called JavaScript. So, if you try to get into the further details of it, we understand that some of you may think that is JavaScript somewhere part of Java. So no, there's a huge difference in both. One is a scripting language, another is a complete object oriented language. Also, you can implement most of your, I mean, you is your, integrate your development of JavaScript with the HTML as a language, with your HTML and CSS. These are simple HTML CSS languages that you can use to create a website, a web page. But the scripting basically enables a great UI, helps you with the interactive feature, event driven capabilities that JavaScript has as an overall programming language. So it all started in, the 1990s. We see that we call JavaScript a open source platform. We call it that it can be used cross platform. So the interesting part is, even if you are on the particular operating system, it can be used cross platform. The engines behind it, the JavaScript engine that is fed into your browser, is already present there and then. So you don't have to explicitly set up, download a specific thing to get started with JavaScript. So you see that there are interesting frameworks that have been developed around JavaScript, and libraries are available like Angular, React, jQuery, Node.js, with the help of which you can work more and learn more into the JavaScript. So let's talk a bit on the history of JavaScript, since we are taking this as from a beginner's perspective. Let's understand that, exactly how it came into being. So it was in mid 1990s that things became important, like especially for organizations like Netscape and Microsoft, wherein there was a war between these two organizations for the browsers. Netscape Navigator and Microsoft's Internet Explorer, they were going head to head. Both of them were very, the only two most used browsers. Only in September 95, we saw that one of the programmers called Brandon H developed an interesting language in just 10 days. So, the interesting part is that he initially developed this language called JavaScript in just 10 days, and it was originally called Mocha. And after that, it came to be known as LiveScript, and further later on, the name JavaScript was given. It had many challenges initially, if you ask. It was not that easy to work around with JavaScript. If you think that, it came into being and we started using it, it took time to get off, and always it was thought of as a UI glue that is used by most of the designers. Somewhere it was thought of as a more of a non-tech, or a language that is used more often by not the technical guys but the non-engineers. That's what JavaScript was thought of. It was usually used to just enhance the design, and but the reality is that having a glue language allowed the internet to really flourish. That's what happened, because JavaScript is also one of the reasons that this quick run through or the interest in the internet started to push off, and programmers could react better to use events, compose interactive components. Slowly and gradually this change happened. So it was not a swift change, or say the JavaScript came, everything started to flourish and it was amazingly working. No, there was troubles, there were challenges, and there were challenges specifically in the verbose nature when doing simple things, and the incompatibility issues between different browsers. So initially different browsers has different sorts of engines, and then there was incompatibility. If you're running in one browser, you were not able to run in another browsers. So then it was a great community, or a large community of people who popularized JavaScript, created interesting frameworks and libraries such as Dojo, Mood Tools, and jQuery to enhance how we see JavaScript today. So there is a big role of these various community which supported in making JavaScript as it is today. So we'll now talk about its features. So if we talk about the different features of the JavaScript programming language, then you would see that um, basically it came into being as more of a interactive, something that can help you interact with the web page that you can simply create with the HTML and CSS element. Okay, so today we will create a login page, a simple login page. You need to have a little understanding of HTML and CSS, but however, even after having an understanding of your HTML and CSS, what's necessary is that you know how to play around with the script tag. So we'll talk about how you implement your JavaScript within the existing HTML and CSS, how you make your web pages more interactive, and the dynamic text that you are able to inculcate into an application that is running on the client side. So the interesting part with Java script was that it was an interesting scripting language. Okay, and if you talk about developing websites, it was one of the core languages that is used today. HTML, CSS is there, which helps you give a structure, style. JavaScript lets you add functionality and behavior. So at the end of the day, you use HTML, and HTML gives you a structure, like how the web page would be, or what would be displayed where. CSS gives all that style, but JavaScript lets you add the functionality and behavior, that how your website will behave, right? Allowing your website visitors to interact with the content in many imaginative ways. So it is more of a client side language. One thing that you should understand, it runs on your own system, it runs on your own browser. So with the introduction of Node.js, this has allowed us to also execute JavaScript outside of the your browsers, I would say, on servers. So JavaScript it has surpassed Java, Flash, and other languages because it's very easy to learn, and is again supported by a open community of people who are keeping it free. It's incredibly useful. Developers are quickly able to create different interesting websites around it. So there are different features that you would want to understand, like programmers able to react to events, page load page with the users. You are able to get information on how a particular user is accessing a certain web page onto your website, and then you can perform calculations on user's computer as well. So I'll showcase you all that while we talk, but let's talk about the applications. Okay, that how, and or I would say let's focus a bit more on this aspect also, that we say it's a client side validation language. So what's this client side validation? We verify any user input before submitting it to the server. Okay, So JavaScript plays an important role in doing that validation, providing those inputs at the front end itself. So you don't have to wait. All that already runs onto your browser, and only then it is being forwarded onto the server. The second application feature would be you are easily able to, it helps you manipulate HTML pages on the fly. I mean, I'll showcase that. We'll be just using the inspect and just writing things, and then you are simply able to manipulate things. You are able to add, delete an HTML tag very easily. You are able to modify your HTML tags to change the look and feel based on the different devices and requirements. So suppose I'm building in a website for a web page or a desktop application, then the look and feel is different. For the mobile, accordingly you will have to program, manipulate the structure of your web page. Talking about the third thing, user notifications. So it helps you raise dynamic pop-ups on the web pages to give different types of notifications. Like we'll use the alert feature to provide your website, you notify an alert to your user. So notifications is different for sure, that we want our website visitors to be able to see, check out the different pop-ups. The fourth is backend data loading. So the interesting part is JavaScript provides Ajax library, which helps in loading the backend data while you are doing some other processing. So the loading and everything that is happening on the page, it is important that at the back end, whatever data has to be pushed is also being quickly loaded. This helps you give an amazing experience to the website visitors, or else your website visitors won't stay, right? They can't wait for more than a longer duration of period. So talking about presentations, so you can have functionality which helps you give your website amazing look and feel. And you can use reveal.js, bespoke.js libraries to build a web-based slide presentations of sorts. So the final application that JavaScript helps us with is server applications. Node.js is specifically built on Chrome's JavaScript runtime for building the fast and scalable network applications. So you do have many interesting things around JavaScript that has popularized it as much as you see today. So let's get back to the structure. So how do I tackle this interesting structure that the JavaScript has? First of all, you have your HTML at the top, your opening tag and the closing tag at the bottom. Within it, you will use the body. And within this opening and closing of the body tag is where we have currently placed our script tag. If you can see, the script tag is the third line that you're seeing. And with the type, we are trying to showcase that we are using a text of the JavaScript type. We are using the function called document.write, within which we are saying hello world, which will be our first instruction of sorts using the JavaScript structure. So you just simply see the placement, how we are adding a function which is using to display a certain text onto the browser screen. Talking about the placement of this script tag, where do you exactly place it? Should you be pushing it into the head section? Should you be pushing it into the body section? So if you want that the script run on some event, such that when a user is clicking somewhere, then that script, based on an event, if you want to get a certain response generated quickly, you place your script into the head section, or I would say within the head tag, so that the script which we have applied, wherein I'm saying, so we've created a function. We'll talk about what functions are, and within this function we are saying say hello. So your say hello is the name of your function, and within the function we have used the alert. So I'll showcase how you use alerts on the console. And this placement will do what? On the click of a button, if you see at the bottom, on the click of the button, you will be able to run the say hello function. And the say hello function will showcase or provide you the hello world result. So what about placing it in the body tag? Suppose I place it in the body section, what will happen in that case? So if you want to run the script as the page is loading, so when the content is getting generated, if you want to do that, then you place it in the body tag. So we have the head tag, we have the body tag. You decide where you want to place, whether it is in the script section, whether it is in the head section or whether it is in the body section. So then the script goes in the body portion of the document. So in the body section, you can simply place it, if you see the sixth line, I guess, wherein we have written text because we just want to display a text, and say use the same function document.write hello world, right? So depends on the preference and what application you are building using the JavaScript. You want to load it with, while the page is getting loaded, put it in the body tag. You want to preload it, or you want a certain event, based on a certain event, that tag, or I would say the script is being loaded, then you place it in the head portion. So let's talk about variables in JavaScript. You would say that, was it that interesting? Yes. So there is three types of variables that you can have in JavaScript. Either it is var, const, or let. Okay. So these var, const, and let, why do we have these three and how are they different? Let's talk a bit on that part. The important thing is, when we talk about the difference between the where, let, and const, depending on the scope where these variables are used, how you want to change the way in they are the way in which they are referenced, is how you use the different, I would say, you define the variables as per that, how you want these variables to be available. So there is a scope. What is the scope that I'm talking about? So scope basically defines where, up till where your variable is accessible, or within the which region your variable exists, and after say a certain function or a certain block, the variable doesn't or cannot be accessed. So that is what will define wherein you would want to use the, say it's a global scope or a local scope. That is one thing. But if we, let's talk about this where type of variable, which is again a reserved keyword. It is followed by a reference variable name. So you use the where, and then you give the name, say where name, and then within the where name, if you can see, I've given my name. Again on the const, I have again declared the name of that as name. Let, again I have declared with my name. So depending on whether you are using it within simple function, you are using it for, say, a purpose where you want to just assign it a certain value, initialize it. So that is how you use. But then you would want to understand, how do you define this very, when you are using the where as a keyword, it is restricted to a particular function. When you have defined it in any within a function body, it will be restricted to that function. When you're outside of a function, then that variable has a global scope. So depending on whether I am defining the variable within the function body or outside the function body, that will define whether my where keyword, or the certain variable that I have declared with the where keyword, has a global or a local scope. So local scope is when when I am declaring it within that function. Global scope is when I am declaring it within outside that function. Okay. So basically it also defines not just the scope. What happens is, where is not block scoped. So when we say it is not within that particular block scope. When you declare a variable within a code block using curly braces, its scope flows out of the block. So if your scope flows out, say I have declared my name, which is a global, say I have declared it outside the function, then what will happen, that the variable, my name variable, that will be, we'll try to access it from anywhere. So that will create the difficulty. If you see, there is a table. Within that table we have defined that usually where will have a scope within that function. However, your const, which will basically make the value constant, is only defined for a certain curly brace or block of sorts. And then when you see let also defined, then you would say that the variable scope for constant let is same. However, when we reassign, are we able to reassign a value to let? No. If you have declared my name, let name equal to Pooja, then in that case, I can't reassign this variable. So assignment is when you are assigning a certain value to a variable. So variables basically hold values for you. Without these, we cannot do any work. So we will need variables. Always remember that. And these are case sensitive. So JavaScript is in itself a case sensitive language. So it's important to declare variables within the certain case that you are thinking to work with them. And then if you can, whether you can redeclare or not. Once I have declared, can I redeclare it? So for where it is possible, for const and let it is not possible. So for hoist, we won't focus on that part currently because that could be something a discussion for maybe a session 2 of sorts. So you also have to understand that there are restrictions in which you declare these variables. You cannot start with a number. You have to uh, define the type by which you are calling, right? The type of that particular variable, whether it's a where type, const type, let type. You define it, initialize it, and use it in code wherever it is required. Now we move to data types in JavaScript. So if you ask me the different data types, again, it is defined in two categories, whether it is primitive or it is reference type. So primitive types of variables are your numbers, your strings, boolean, undefined, null. So you would say that how is it different? So these primitive types are something which you can also compare in any other programming language. Okay, so there are various programming languages all having different types of variables, and when you say it has these primitive types, so numbers will be a 1 2 3 1 2.50. So there's no concept of float here. Remember this. Strings would be a certain statement of sorts. This check out this particular string, welcome to today's session. Boolean will be like true or false, to either true or false. And also defines, JavaScript also defines two trivial data types, which is null and undefined, which will only have a single value. And then you have your reference types, wherein we talk about the composite type of data, where you say objects, array, functions. So these are all non-primitive data types that allow you to store multiple collections of data. So when we say arrays, it will have collections of different, heterogeneous elements also associated with the non-primitive reference types of data types. So we'll see what a function is. But before we go ahead and see all that, I would want to showcase you quickly how you can, uh, simply experiment. Say I open this browser, and within the browser I say inspect. So this basically opens the JavaScript for you. It already has this inbuilt your JavaScript engine of sorts, which is able to get you the HTML, the head, the body. See the kind of particular paragraph that I'll come at, or the division. I can see exactly where my current, so I'll just resize it. So it will showcase the code. What are the different elements? So there are different script elements that are present here on this current page of sorts. However, we'll just try to see that what all we can do on the console. So on the console, I can simply write console.log when I want not to display something on the page, but to basically use this console.log to display something as an output. So within the console.log, it started giving me suggestions what you would like to write as a text that can be displayed. So let us say hello, good evening, and we simply press enter, and we can see that it is not displayed on the page. However, it is displayed on the console, and we can simply use it for our own purpose when we are trying to check out how these different functions work. So alert, which we can use in different functions, and while we are developing the different web pages, you use alert, and then you say hi. So single or double? Both are allowed in JavaScript. You can use single inverted commas as well as double inverted commas. And in the alert, we say, hi everyone, welcome to today's session on Java. Since we are using this single, uh, let's use double so that we can keep your apostrophe as not as a single quote. So we'll say, hi everyone, welcome to today's session on JavaScript. Okay, close it, say enter. So you can see that at the top it is showing me an alert. Hi everyone, welcome to today's session on JavaScript. So there's so much that's there. You can simply use alert, you can use accelerometers, you can use the console itself, which comes and use the dot operator, and it'll give you the different functions with the console dot assert. You are the best. It's already giving you suggestions as to what you can do with the different available functions. So currently, this is not what I wish to focus on. What we want to focus on is that this is a very simple way, right? You can simply try and experiment the different types of functions. We'll talk about these functions now. So I just showcased you how an inbuilt function that was already present in JavaScript we used. So you can see that JavaScript functions. What are these? These are a set of statements that we use to perform a specific task. Okay. So currently what I was doing, I was giving an alert. I wanted to give a pop-up with using a function. So which function I used? Alert, which was again what kind of function? It was a predefined function. So what we did, we first use the function, and then we are studying the theory behind it, that how is that function basically working. So basically we don't want repetitions. We write a certain set of code within a certain function body, and then keep calling that function wherever we think we want to reuse that same set of code. So functions could be predefined or it could be user defined. So your predefined functions, we just use console alert. User defined functions could be, we will first use the keyword called function. Ahead of it, we will define the name of the function, and then ahead of it, we will have the different parameters which will define what inputs that particular function can take. And after those inputs, you can write the set of instructions. Suppose you're building something for a calculator of sorts, or something for displaying on the website, say some calculation that you're doing. So input those statements here, so that whenever your function is returned, I mean whenever your function has quit running or finished running, the return will give you the required output. So there are a certain set of syntax that you have to follow. Parentheses have to be used where you pass your parameters. So do take consideration of that fact. But we also want to talk about objects. So again, these we've talked about your functions which are predefined, which are user defined. But objects is one which is very important and holds a key importance. How? They are an unordered collection, and that can have related data of primitive or reference types. So that in itself makes it interesting to use. It is some sort of again related to your dictionary in Python, wherein for a particular key I have a value. So for my key name I have a value OpenWeaver. For a key location I have Chennai Industry Software. So basically these are all what your things which are on the left of the colon are your keys, on the right are your value pairs. So each of these keys is referred to as properties of the object. So object types basically simplify the way in which you access or you try to create elements in the script part of your JavaScript. Okay, how do you link to a JavaScript file? So there are interesting ways why we have discussed this is that suppose I want to inculcate a JavaScript, not just one place but multiple places. So you can place your script code in a separate .js file, and that same file you can call at multiple places. Okay, just call it at multiple places. That code can be directly placed into your HTML's body, and just like this, your use the script tag. Within it, use src, give the file name, write the type as text, JavaScript, and close the script. So by this, that same code I can reuse and multiple files, right? So you just have to create a separate file with the .js extension, and then keep reusing it just like functions everywhere wherever you want to link that script. So usually, JS code can be placed directly within the HTML, which I have already told and discussed about in the body or head. However, this is not a very you know right way. Usually it is suggested that you place it separately, call it etc. So that is a recommended way. Last thing we want to discuss is event driven programming. So what is this event driven programming? This event driven programming is what is making things easier for us with JavaScript. So what happened? Event driven is when the flow of the program is determined by the events, such as your user's action, where a user is clicking the mouse, it is the user is pressing a certain key, your sensor's output, or something around that. So it basically helps you know it basically helps you create more user centric, graphically intensive applications that on clicking a certain event, and clicking a certain button, a certain event will occur, a certain page will load. So this makes it more and more interesting for you to use JavaScript, or use of JavaScript as your programming language to develop a game, develop a web page, develop an application in blockchain, anywhere, using the different frameworks. But before you go ahead and start working out these things, it is important that we make you realize that these are all what we discuss are open source libraries. And because JavaScript had a great community support, we see it is the top programming language that is used and will remain so for the years to come. So because it's being supported by a great community, you are able to innovate, you are able to use things that people have provided. We also would want to vouch that you try and take into consideration when you're using a certain framework based on JavaScript to develop your back end or the front end, that whether you are able to check the library or repo, a tool for the right support, security, quality, and like the license agreement. So it's important that when you use an open source tool, it is a permissive license. You can't just pick a work that is not permissive, or whether it's a different sort of a copy left. So suppose it's open source, but the developer of that content wants you to contribute yourself as well to the community. Everything, all the kits that we provide here at Kandi are all in of use to you. You can reuse them, redistribute them, do whatever you think are suitable to develop an application on top of what we are already providing to you. So now let's quickly get into the kit. After you have uh, you know after you have downloaded your kit, you should be able to get to this page. Okay, let me showcase my entire screen. After you have set up the kit, you would see that it will showcase you that would you like to run the kit. So just say yes, and it will open this login page for you. So this login page that it will open for you, simply it's a simple login page of sorts that we have scripted. It's currently hard coded with a username called root and a password called root as well. And when we click on this login button, the same click event that I was talking, it is displaying it or a second page wherein we have created this welcome message. So it is a very simple page of sorts that you would see. But I would like to get to the details of how this code is written. So for that, let me quickly open the entire folder. Let's open the javascript.main as the entire folder into one of the VS Code or whatever you are comfortable with, within which I want to discuss the index.html, which is currently, what is happening. I have used a style sheet here, which is styles.css. So that styles.css is what is helping me style the page how you are seeing currently, the background, the screen shape that is displayed, everything that you're seeing there, the login input, the action, the button, border, everything is placed in this style sheet, and I am then seeing that we have linked it, we have referenced it using this link tag, and then currently the page that we are writing the code for that we want the title to be login page, and within the head only we have placed the script tag, and we are saying we want to get elements by id for password. We are using an inbuilt documents function within which you have your different functions that you can use. We are using the get element by id so that we are able to uh, fetch the password. So what happens when we want that we have added a form. If you see that there is this form, and within that form I want to fetch the username as root. I've hard coded it, and if the value of the password is also root, please take me on clicking to the web page 2. So what is this? Sorry, page 2.html. Again, it's a very simple page. You press if you come on the top, you open this tag, use an exclamation mark and say I guess shift enter, or I think spacebar enter. The code of this html will automatically generate for you. What we've done is within the form I have given a simple heading of welcome. As simple as that, nothing we have done, all this is automatically generated. We are basically navigating from this page to that page. So basically on getting all these values, you will get to page 2.html, which talks about welcome. And in case you are not writing the right username, then we will or password, we'll say invalid password. If the password is not invalid, initially only you are coming out of this uh, I would say code, or I would say the curly brace, it will check that the username is invalid as well. So basically what we are trying to explain here is that you can simply place the script tag. I've closed the script tag here if you see. So within the script tag, we have this entire code, which is first trying to validate your, save a password in this input variable, and then check whether that has been correctly inputted or not. So we've used the input.add events listener. So for that event listener, I want to check on pressing the enter, are we able to, if the user presses the enter key on the keyboard, are we able to prevent the event from getting into the default action, or what are we trying to do? The button, there's this login button which on clicking is taking me to that second login page. So either it's a key press, and along with that, what is the second parameter? The function. And in the function I am expecting that the root, which is used as the username, the root which is also we have hard coded as a password. After fulfilling those two, on the click of the button we are able to uh, get to the second page, which is your page 2.html. So basically what we have done to make it more simplified for you, we have the array index array.html as well listed down here, so that you can check this out. How you can check? There's this flex panel card flip. So I'll open the card flip quickly for you. If we open the card flip, what is this application? This is a simple card that they've played, and this is the text that they're displaying. On clicking it, it just gives you what the fill method is like. So you can, it's your choice what you would like to display here. It's a simple application of sorts. What else is present here? You can go for complete flex panel. So something like, let's take it all in. This is a flex panel page also that you can, and if you want to check out the code, you just have to open this file with your VS code. And you have a calculator application as well, which you can use. Say 2 plus 3, sorry, multiplied by 3 will give you the expected output. So you can experiment these, which we have already put up into the kit. Try and check what is more suitable for you, and based on that, come back with your queries, your inputs, that how we can, get through a more interesting kit of sorts for you. So before we, conclude, uh, I would like to focus on the three key things that we talked about in today's session. So basically, in today's session, I tried to cover the basics, that how you can, what are the data types in JavaScript, how do you declare the variables, what are the built-in functions, and what are the different HTML elements that within which we will be placing our JavaScript script tag. We had an hands-on session to create a user login page, a very very simple one that you can use to create a login page. And also you learned how you can use kandi to tap into millions of such open source assets to build your own JavaScript applications. So for our participants today, do take a look at some of these one-click kits that have been developed by young and senior developers on topics that are very relevant in today's world, like the one we just saw on JavaScript. So let's quickly take a few questions that we may have from the community. I see that there is one of the questions that is asked wherein people are asking what is the difference between Java and JavaScript. So I think this is something which can confuse anyone. And if you would want to differentiate, you would say that Java is a complete programming language. In contrast, JavaScript is a code. It's a coded program that can be introduced within the HTML pages. So these two languages are not at all interdependent and are designed for different intentions. Java is a more object-oriented programming language, or I would say it's more like C++ and other sorts of languages. And JavaScript is more of a client-side scripting language. It's easier, it's lighter, it's very very simple to learn and code. Another question that we have from community coming up is that what are global variables and how are these variables declared? So global variables, I talked about it, are available throughout the length of the code so that they can be accessed anywhere. So they don't have a specific or limited scope. So the where keyword that we use to declare a local variable or an object, right, was basically defining the scope. So if the where keyword is omitted, a global variable is declared. If we are not putting the where keyword, then the variable will be global. Okay. So yeah, and in case you do have any more comments, please put them in chat. We'll try to answer to them as and when possible. Also, since couple of you are asking about the certification process, so yes, let's help you get to that. To apply for your certificates, you have to get onto the community page. So I'll just showcase how you have to do that. Please get into the this link that is available wherein you are able to apply for certificates. Click here. You would see it will take you through the basics of JavaScript programming kit page directly. Here you have an option to apply for certifications. Click here. Fill in the required details that you had attended the live bootcamp. Answer a couple of two questions, simple questions that are defined here. If those questions would be right, you'd get a participation certificate. If not, you won't get that. And you can get an achievement certificate if you can answer and do some interesting customization of sorts to this kit. Showcase us with a screenshot or photo of that change that you have done, and we would be more than happy to give you an achievement certificate. So your certificate will be issued on the Wednesday of every week, so please keep patience for that. So yeah, that's how you can apply for certifications. And you can also co-present with us, provide us with an information of your name and email ID so that you can join us for one of the live sessions, maybe be an ambassador to the community, and so much more to grow and learn together with. Also, we would like to give you information on community.openweaver.com, where you can apply and discuss about different questions, queries that you have on not just this kit, but many other such kits that are helpful with solutions that are all open source. So, thank you so much to all our viewers and bootcamp participants. We hope you enjoyed the session and found the use case presented valuable. The link to the certificates is already available in the description. So go ahead and fill that we will be conducting many such boot camps frequently and regularly. So if you would like to stay updated with our program calendar, please join our community. You can find us by searching OpenWeaver, and do join us on the different connect with us on different social media handles, so that you can stay updated with what's coming up more in the terms of topics and future boot camps. Thank you so much, and stay tuned up till next time with the latest trends in the world of open source. Thank you, everyone.